today I'm gonna do a book review on a book called A Visionary New Understanding of Happiness and Well-being. And because I was taking a course and it tells me to read this book, and I feel like I really learned something. I feel like this book can help in many ways, in like helping with depression, overcoming depression, how to be healthier and how to live more fulfilling, and what really cures depression, and all sort of these type of topics. It's like basically on like positive psychology, and it is written by an author that his name is Martin, and he used to be the president of the Psychology Association in the U.S. He have a PhD in the related area in the beginning to begin with, and then he was a doctor in the field for many years to like give prescriptions and stuff like that, and to look what patients need. And then I think it's in 1997 or 8ish, he starts like, which is like nearly like 25 years ago, he start going to learning positive psychology, like how to make people happier. He start doing um these studies because people funded him a lot to do this study, and then so there are people who funded him, and that's how he started. And then he got really into it and he started funding himself. And this book covers a variety of topics. And so yeah, let's get into it. I will also give my own opinion as like, do I agree with it or do I not? And so you can like, because I had depression, I was taking pills, I still am, and so I am sort of authority. But then this psychologist, he also did a lot of study. He sees people who is depressed, so he's also authority. So we're both authorities, and then we'll like, let's you can try to make your own judgment on what is uh like um like the like you can make your own judgment as what you think is correct. Or I hope, if you don't have much thought on it, I hope this helps you. Okay, so this book is written like around 10 years ago. But before this book, he wrote another book called Authentic Happiness. And that book, he wrote it like around over 20 years ago. And that book is talking back then. He just started researching for a few years, and he discovered that to be happy, to have happiness psychology, um, there is three elements to it, three general elements, which is positive emotion, engagement, and meaning. So positive emotion basically is like you're doing like something really happen, make you really happy. For example, drink a good smoothie, yummy smoothie, or like being intimate with someone that you are interested in, or like you bought a new dress, like or you bought a new car. Like these moment of highs is like happiness. It gives you good mood. Or you just go out today, it's like a sunny day, and you just feel like, oh, and you like sunny days, and you're like, oh, I'm in a good mood at this moment, so that's good mood. And then engagement is that, like, for example, you're playing a bridge game, or you're playing a video game, you're really into it, or you're reading a book, you're really, really into it. You're like, oh, I'm so focused. Like, oh, this is such, like, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just thinking about this thing. So that's like engagement. Or when you're like focused on playing a sport, you're so focused in winning, you're like really focused that you don't see anything else. That's engagement. And then he, after he thinks that only these are not enough, if you're doing this for a bigger purpose, for there's a meaning to it, it will make you happier. So and then like after 10 more than 10 years, he wrote this Authentic Happiness book, he discovered that um there's more to a person's life than these things. For example, a person who takes drugs might feel a really good mood at the moment, but in the long run, it will be bad for your health. It will be bad for your you'll be broke. You will, people will leave you, and then you won't be happy again. So what people really want is not just to being like, oh, the high, like I'm in such a good mood right now, but in the well-being, in the long run, like your life is getting better and better. So he added two more elements to complete that what he think that happiness is, which will make it not happiness anymore, but not only happiness, but well-being. Well-being is what people really want. And the two elements he added is positive relationships and accomplishments. Um so um like positive relationships means that, of course, like you have good relationships with other people, and then accomplishment is that you're accomplishing something in your life. So that he finds that is helpful to well-being. And then now that's being said, he come to this topic is that, a lot of people when they're depressed, they take pills. They take pills. The doctor will be like, you should eat this pill, and then he's talking about, is pill really good or not? He said that he used to be one of those doctors who prescribes pills um to the patients, and then saying that, there is no like cure as in being really happy. The cure is more like being not unhappy anymore. And he and then after he went into the field, he discovered that it's wrong. So um like he after he went to study, he he first, a long time ago, he was studying philosophy, and he discovered a lot of times the book is really talking about like kind of unraveling a linguistic puzzle instead of solving true morality, science, um, politics, religion, law issues. So he feel that like that's what philosophy's book is about. So he kind of feel that like the foundation of psychology in the past like 100 years is more like and the positive psychology that he is trying to um discover more. It's kind of like problems versus puzzles. Are you solving a puzzle or are you solving a problem? So he discovered that when he was in the root of solving puzzles before, which is he say that around 1940 something, his teacher said that there is a lot of like all of the principals who study psychology and stuff, the principals of the psychology school and stuff of Harvard, all sort of Princeton, blah 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 blah, blah, all these schools, they get together and they had a meeting, and they're like, you know what, we're only gonna do like basic psychology instead of applied psychology, because that is doesn't offend anybody, it doesn't solve any true problems, but it doesn't really like offend anybody either, so we'll always be politically correct. um, that our study basic studies means that it's based on like theories. Applied is means that it's based on something that's really practical. So they start going to like more basic study, but then after he goes more deeply into it, he finds that like a uh base psychology is not like physics. Physics was preceded by ancient science of engineering that actually solve problems before it is drafted on abstract basic research. But psychology is not like that. Psychology is something that happened in the human mind. You need to feel it, you need to figure it out instead of being like, I'm gonna build it on like some abstract ideas. You need to like truly see what makes people happy and what people are doing and trying to make people feel better, trying to solve these problems, to cure all these people, to discover what really is gonna do the work to help people solve depressions. So these psychological schools and stuff, they do laboratory on animals and stuff, which is does help to some degree, but it can never really solve the complex human mind and make them truly happy from within. They can only kind of see, oh, which sort of element is missing when a animal is unhappy and human have that too, and then to kind of like being like, oh, this is gonna make you not as depressed. Of course, if you're extremely depressed that like you cannot take any actions right now, maybe you need to um take some pills, maybe if the doctor says you should. But if if you are like um already feeling like you can take actions, then the actions that you take towards a positive life works much better than just like taking pills and laying there and do nothing. Okay. Now that I talk about this part, the next part they talk about achievements. Achievements. What makes achievement? They say that achievement basically is skills multiplied by effort. Skills, which is your skills, effort, which is time spent on subject, which I kind of disagree because some people have natural talent and interest in certain things that no matter how long or less time they put in it, they might achieve it if they're in the good right direction. If you're in the wrong, like in something you're really not interested in, you're really in the wrong direction. Like even if you putting a lot of time on the subject, which means a lot of effort, you still might not achieve that many stuff. So that I disagree with what the book says. And then it also says that students with less impulse and more self discipline would do better, which I also disagree because some people just mature late. When they were young, they have more impulse, and then when they mature, they have more self control. Doesn't mean that a person like matured late means that it's bad for them. Like people have different. I personally believe everybody is different. Some people mature early, some people mature late, and doesn't mean that if a person like matures early would like definitely do better than someone that matures late. So that's what I think. And they also say that very high effort, which is still talking about achievement, the formula they say is caused by personal um personality characteristic of extreme persistence. And the more you have that, the more time you will spend on the task, which will make you achieve more. which I really disagree because it's not that people don't have this kind of thing. They call it grit. It's not that people don't have grit. It's that the person didn't find where the passion is to put the grit yet. That's why they seem like they don't have grit. It's not that they don't have it. It's that they did not find the area that they can put it in. So really you need to like I personally think like the book says that you people have more grit is going to have more achievement, but I personally think that before you find your true passion, you need to try things. Before you find your true passion, you might not be able to have the grit. You're just so depressed, you're so unhappy in this route. So it's not like, I mean, like, you should push yourself, but it's not the only pushing yourself part. It's also that you just happen to bump into like the right area of interest that make that like light the sparks in you that makes you have grit towards things. Um And something I do agree with it, what the book says is that the book says practice makes better, which I agree. And um and the book also said a few things that I really agree with, few quotes. It says you have the power within you to figure out what inspires you, what makes you laugh, what gives you hope, and what to cultivate these emotions. So if you feel like what inspires you, what makes you feel better, you cultivate these emotions. And as you become happier and more satisfied with your life and the things in it, you will have more to give to others. So it's like when you have nothing to give to other people. When you have something within you, you have something to give to other people. So you need to try to become happier and more satisfied with life and the things in it in your life, and then you will be able to give to other people. Like if you are not happy with yourself, you have nothing to give to other people. And then it moves on to the topic of a corporation. Um, uh, like what corporation works better? They say that people are rarely altruism, means that they think for the benefit of other people. But with practice, you're able to achieve it. And you're able to achieve more than before. Not like completely, but you're able to have more than before if you give it practice, if you try. Um, and a corporation group that have more of altruism for every individual, that they will succeed more. Like when everybody's thinking for other people, they will succeed. This corporation will succeed more. And then it moves on to post traumatic stress disorder. They say that they move on to people from the military that or like people who goes through so much trauma that they have post trauma stress disorder. Means like after trauma they have like stress disorder. They don't know how to manage stress anymore. And they say that you want to turn that if you, when you are experiencing trauma and have not ended yet, you can start trying to develop what's called post trauma growth. So you try to grow from a trauma instead of like just having disorder. It's not easy to do. You need people to help you. um so what, and then it comes to what you can do to help other people to have post-trauma growth instead of post-trauma disorder. So what you can do is to actively and constructively um, share someone's positive experience, love, and friendship. Okay, which this means that when a person is like having like a post-traumatic stress disorder, and when they're telling you something that they're like really happy about, or they're finally experiencing something that they really like, you should you should like respond like constructively, like, oh, I share their happiness, instead of be like, oh, whatever. like like when you share that they're really happy with them, and they feel like you care about them and it will help them. So it says that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being. It is not the absence of disease. Like, just like because you don't have disease doesn't mean you're healthy. Just because you're not depressed doesn't mean you're happy. So, sometimes to cure depressed, it's not just to be not depressed. You want to achieve happy. You want to aim for happy instead of aim for not depressed. So that's why this, I think the author of this book more like kind of promotes people to you trying to do happy things to achieve the five things that it mentioned before, like positive emotion and engagement, meaning, positive relationships, and accomplishment. To practice these five things instead of like depend on heavily on medication. So yeah, and to cure depression. And then in traditional psychotherapy, which is Freud, Freud, that person, uh Sigmund Freud, Freud says mental health is just absence of mental illness, which the author of this book think is wrong, which I agree. Yeah, it is wrong. The traditional psychotherapy think that happiness is an illusion, and the best we can hope for is to keep our misery away. So, and the author of like the study, like Martin, think that it is wrong. It is wrong. Like, you can achieve flourishing happiness. It is not an illusion. So this thought of health just means no illness, it's already outdated. Health is much more than that. Author went on talk about if happiness is going to help with physical health, and the answer is yes. There are studies which I will not talk about it now, but it it's a study. Many studies have shown that a positive mood, a good mood, a happy life can drastically reduce chances of getting like diseases, especially cardiovascular disease, and have some effect to immune system towards like other type of disease too. And then it also talks the author also went a little bit off topic, start talking about uh is exercise or diet good for fitness. So he says that it is good to eat healthy. We all need to eat healthy. But other than eat healthy, if a person wants to truly be fit, um, he gotta exercise. Exercise doesn't mean that you're doing something that is like you really don't like. It can just be go out for a walk, go for a swim, go do a yoga, like do something movement, train your body to have movement, to do things, to move your body, like in order to be like to have fitness, you need to do exercises. You cannot just eat a diet and you say like diet is 80% of losing weight, so I would not exercise. No, fitness If you want to be fit, you need to exercise. And then after, okay, and then it shows a chart. This chart, it says that to prevent people from getting sick, fit people is like we have way less chance of getting sick than unfit people. When it comes to fit people, that skinny fit people have less chance to get sick than fat fit people. But when you're really unfit, to be a fat unfit people would be healthier. No, no, not healthier. Would have less chance to get sick than skinny unfit people. So it's a myth that you can just not exercise and eat really less or cut something out of your diet and then you are just have stronger immune system. It's a myth. Yes, it is right that when you are skinnier and you're fit at the same time, you don't get sick. But like overall, if you get fit, you have stronger immune system than when you're not fit. Not exactly like if you're fat or skinny, but of course, obese is always bad. Like if you're fit, you're very less likely to be obese. You might be like slightly on the chubbier side, but you will not be obese. If you're obese, then you probably are not fit. So, but if you're kind of chubby, like not very skinny, you're kind of sort of like big and chubby, doesn't mean that you're unfit. If you are exercising good, if you are eating good, if you are like moving your body, if you are breathing fresh air, doing all the healthy things, and to have a fit body, like you can still be like kind of like chubby and big. So, um, and the next thing it talks about the country. It talks about the country. It talks about the the domestic productiveness doesn't represent how well the country is really doing. If you just see like a person suffering from like a divorce, or like the more people suffer from divorce, or the more like issues that people have, sometimes people can have the country have more GDP. So the really good way to measure a country's well-being is to actually measure the well-being of um, the life of the people in the country instead of just measuring the GDP. Like, because back then, many years, countries are always having war. People are not doing the basic, not having their basic needs met. So back then, it's like, um, oh yeah, like when a country is like having a low GDP, that means it's not doing well. But now that countries are becoming more advanced and a lot of their basic needs have met in a lot of advanced country, but people are still really unhappy. So your measurement of if the country is doing well should also advance and improve. Like people also say, there is a lady that wrote a book. I did not write down what her name is, but she basically write that optimism cause economy to break down, and being realistic and see the reality will make the economy better. And then, so this author said that a lot of time, the reality, there is the reflexive reality and non-reflexive reality. Like a non-reflexive reality is like something bad already happened, or some knowledge, whether or not you know it, it's always there. It always exists. That's non-reflexive reality. Means that it will always be the same, no matter if you're optimistic or not. But there are some realities that's reflexive, means that for example, if everybody is very optimistic about the stock will go up, then they will go buy more stock, then those stock will go up. So basically, everybody's mood affected um if the stock will go up or down or not. So this is the stock going up or down is basically depend on how optimistic the market, the consumer, the people who's buying stock is, and also the price of real estate. If there are more immigrants coming in, then the real estate, if there's a lot of rich immigrants coming in, the real estate is gonna go up because they have money and they all want a place to live, and they want to invest too. And then but then when there is like not many people coming in, but people are always the same amount, then the real estate goes up when everybody thinks the real estate is gonna go up. And lastly, it talks about that this also if applies to marriage. It says that spells with very strong, benign illusion about their mates have much better marriages. Um, like if you have like a really good positive illusion about your mate, about your like your other half, about your couple, about your boyfriend, girlfriend, like your the relationship becomes better, especially like marriage, because you already decide to be with each other forever, you're already serious, you're already in love with each other. And then when you are have a marriage that your thoughts on your husband is the same as your friend's thought on the husband, then this marriage is like, but if your thoughts on your husband is much better than your friend's thoughts about your husband, because you have this illusion about him, like in your eyes, he's so amazing, he's so attractive, then your marriage will be better because your expectations towards him will, and you truly believes it, your spouse would feel really motivated to meet the expectations, which your expectations influence the reality. And when your expectations influence the reality, realism sucks, because when you're realistic, when you're practical, the reality will go worse too. Like every day you're like, oh, why don't you do this? You're just not good at doing this. Like you should really improve on doing this. And then the person will think, I'm really bad at doing this. I'm not good at doing this. I'm a failure. Like, and then like they just do worse and worse, and then the relationship will go worse and worse too. But then if you're like, I just see so much goodness in you. You from the bottom of the heart, when you see this person, all you see from this person is good things. All you see is like he's so handsome. He's so able. He's able to provide. He have abilities. In your eyes, he's so amazing. He's so charming. And when you see this in him, he will become more like this because he feel like this when he's around you, and he becomes more like this. It's like a positive cycle that just becomes better and better and better. And so in this case, your expectations, your not expectation, your yes, your expectations influence your reality. So um yeah, so that basically wraps up this book. That's what everything, most generally, the topics that caught my eyes that this book come across. If it helps you in any way, that's really great. It's 36 minutes because this book talks about a lot. So hope it helps you, and yeah. So I encourage you to go and read this book yourself. Maybe you will have different discoveries of this book from like how I read it.